Welcome to another class. So in this class, we are going to be continuing with our question 9 on Biology 2021 revision. So this class will focus on the part of hormones and the sensory organs. So here, remember to also revise your hormones and sensory organs. So what are some of the parts which you can look at when you're talking about hormones? So hormones, be sure to also talk about the adrenal gland. Also, you need to talk about adrenal gland. You need to know its function. You need to revise its function. Then when you talk about sense organs, you need to revise your eye, your ears. Yeah, these two sense organs. So these two sense organs are the important one which you need to revise as you are preparing for exams next month. So before I start, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell button so that you don't miss out the next video when it is out. Yeah. So the first question is saying, describe the function of the following hormones. We have thyroxine and glucagon. So these are the two hormones which we need to describe their function. So remember what I told you. I told you that the first thing which you need to do is what? You need to define what you have been asked about. So you can define now here. You say a hormone. So you say a hormone is a chemical messenger transported by what? Transported by blood. Yeah. So once you have written like this, you have shown the examiners that okay, I have an understanding of what a hormone is. So you have said a hormone is a chemical messenger which is transported by blood. So now you can start. Among the hormones, we have thyroxine and glucagon. So what is the function of thyroxine? So before we go to the function of thyroxine, you need first to know where thyroxine is what is produced. So imagine this is your neck. So this is your neck. So on your neck you have a hormone which looks like an H shaped. So this hormone on your neck which looks like a shaped H shaped is known as thyroid gland. Yeah. So on our necks we have an H-shaped gland which produces a hormone known as thyroxine. So this is what you need to understand first. They can ask you where is thyroxine produced. So thyroxine is produced by thyroid gland which is located in the neck near the larynx. So now we know where thyroxine is produced and which organ or which gland produces it. Now we are going to move on to discussing the function. So here you can say that thyroxine, which is produced by thyroid gland, controls what? The basal metabolic rate, or also known as BMR. So what is the basal metabolic rate? So the metabolic rate, so the basal metabolic rate is basically the rate at which cells releases what? Energy from the food. So now that rate at which our organs are releasing energy is controlled by the hormone known as thyroxine. So that is the first thing which you need to understand. So now, if thyroxine controls the rate at which organs releases what? Energy. What is its function now? So the first function which this performs is it stimulates respiration of glucose and fats. So we are saying that since we are saying that it controls the rate at which energy is released, so meaning it will only deal with what? With the processes which involve the release of energy, processes like respiration. So it can now start stimulating what? Glucose breakdown to form what? Energy. And it can also start to stimulate the breakdown of fats to release what? Energy. All those steps. And in this process, as it is stimulating, it can also control the what? The growth. It also controls the growth and differentiation of cells. So again, apart from stimulating the release of energy, it also controls the growth and differentiation of cells in our body. So this hormone, the thyroxine hormone, is one of the chemical messengers produced by the thyroid gland. What is its function? So its function is 1, to stimulate what? Respiration. 2, to do what? To control the growth and differentiation of cells in our body. So these are the functions. So once you write like this, meaning you have gotten your first 3 marks on this question. Remember, this question is 6 marks and we are explaining 2 hormones. So our next hormone which we are going to explain is glucagon. Okay, so we have our second hormone, which is glucagon. So glucagon is secreted by the pancreas why can glucagon be secreted by the pancreas in our body? So the only time the pancreas releases glucagon is whenever we have what? Low glucose levels in our blood. So when glucose is low in our blood, for example, you haven't eaten for a longer period of time, meaning your glucose levels will be what? Low. So at that point, your pancreas will release a hormone known as glucagon. So now what does glucagon do to our body when it is released? So we'll see what it does to our body when it is released. So we are saying that glucagon is secreted by the pancreas when there is too low levels of glucose in the blood. So we are saying that whenever you have low glucose levels in your blood, your pancreas will release what is known as glucagon. So when this glucagon is released, the first thing it does, it goes where it acts on the muscles and liver. So why do you think this cell acts on the muscles and liver? So this is because the muscles and the liver, they store what? Glucose in form of glycogen. So it converts glycogen back to glucose so that it can be released back into the blood so that you can have normal glucose levels, because your glucose levels are low in your blood. So meaning that glucose which was stored needs to be released back into your blood. So that's how your body saves you. So it acts on the muscles and livers to convert glycogen to glucose. So here most pupils confuse themselves: glucagon, glycogen, and glucose. These three are different terms. Glucagon is the hormone. Glycogen is the storage of glucose. So you need to practice these three terms, because if you confuse them, you get the answer wrong. Then what other things which this hormone does? So again, it acts on what? It converts fats into what? Into glucose. And utilized for energy. So this is another function of what? Glucagon once it is released from the pancreas. So the first thing is it acts on the muscles and liver to convert what? Glycogen to glucose. Then the second thing is it converts fats into what? Glucose, and utilized for what? For energy. So this is the first part, which was saying describe the function of the following hormone. So we have described the function of thyroxine, which we said it is released by the thyroid gland, which in turn controls the what? The basal metabolic rate. What is the basal metabolic rate? We said that it is the rate at which organs releases what? Energy. Then we also talked about glucagon, which is released whenever you have low glucose levels. Yeah. So next one, we are going to part B, which is saying explain the cause of short sight and how it can be corrected. So how can short sightedness occur and how can it be corrected? So again, what is the first thing you need to do whenever you are solving an essay question? So the first thing you need to do is to define. So you say this is B. So we are defining now what short-sightedness is. So you can say that short-sightedness is an eye defect where an individual can see close objects but distance objects appear blurred. So that is the definition of short-sightedness, meaning you can see objects which are close to you, but you cannot see objects which are far. Yeah, so this is one of the conditions which happens to the eyes. So now you are wondering, how can this happen to our eyes? So the causes of short-sightedness, we have the first cause which can cause you to become short-sighted is what? When you have a permanent. So whenever you have a permanent thick lens. So whenever you have a permanent thick lens in your eyes, so whenever you have a permanent thick lens in your eyes, you will have what? Short-sightedness, which is known as myopia. So another term for short-sightedness is myopia. So how does it occur now? So this, you can have this to be what? To be your eyes. So let's see how this can occur, how you can have myopia and how can it be collected. So this is your eyes. So we have this as your eye. So basically your eyes as a part which is known as the lens, which sees. So this is the lens. Then this part here is known as the retina. So whenever you receive light from the sunlight, if you have a condition which is known as myopia or a condition which is known as short-sightedness, you have your image will focus in front of what? The retina. So your image will be here instead of here, meaning your image will appear blurred. So how can you write this now in form of an essay? Instead of drawing, so you can say that this is because rays from distant objects are brought into focus before. So here objects are brought into focus before or in front of the retina. So here you can say that this is because rays from distant objects are brought in front of the retina. So once an image is brought in front of the retina, your image will appear blurred because under normal circumstances, our images are supposed to be focused on the what? On the retina. So now, how can you correct this condition? Because we are saying that explain the cause. So we have said the cause now is what? When the rays from the distant object are focused in front of the retina. Then this can be caused by what? We said when you have, so this can be caused by a long abnormal what? So it can be caused by a long abnormal eyeball. So now remember, this question is 2 marks. So I'm not saying you can write everything I've written here. So for 2 marks, they are saying explain the cause. So you only need to say that short-sightedness is caused by a long abnormal eyeball. This is because the rays from what distance object are brought in front of the retina. You have explained. Now explain how it can be corrected. So in short, explain how it can be corrected. So in short, how can you explain it? So you can say that it can be corrected by concave lenses. That's so when you say it can be corrected by concave lenses, how can it be corrected by concave lenses? So remember, a concave lens is a diverging lens. When we say something is diverging, we are saying that it spreads out incoming what? Rays. So remember, I told you that here the rays focus where? In front of the retina. But imagine if we had a concave lens. So meaning these rays, they will be what? Diverged. So meaning once they reach this part, which is the lens of your eyes, it will help them to do what? To be focused now where? On the retina, because here the lenses have what? Have been increased. They have been spread out so that the image can be focused on the what? On the retina. So meaning you have explained why short-sightedness is caused and how you can what? You can correct it. So our final essay, which is C. So suggest ways by which deafness could be prevented. So how can you prevent yourself from going deaf? From stop hearing, when you stop hearing. So here we are going to write it here. So we have C. So here I only give you points. So if you want a full topic on the senses of the humans, be sure to inbox me at 0967941401. Yeah, I will get back to you. So that is my line which you can use. So now going back to the question, suggest ways by which deafness could be prevented. So how can you prevent yourself from going deaf? So the first thing you need to do is to clean your ears regularly with soft material to remove excess wax. So we know that our ears contains the excess wax. So you need to use a clean what? Soft material so that you can remove the excess material. This is the first thing which you need to do in order to prevent yourself from what? Going blind. Why? Because the excess wax can block the external auditory canal, meaning sound cannot enter your ears. Then 2 is avoid loud sounds. So the second thing is you should avoid loud sounds. Why? Loud sound can damage the oscars. Once the oscars are damaged, meaning your middle ear won't be working and the sound won't be reaching your inner ear. Then the third thing is you need to treat all infections of the inner ear and the throat. So why do you need to treat all the infection of the inner ear and the throat? This is because these infections can reach your middle ear and can cause blockage in the middle ear, which can lead to deafness. So this is question 9 and how you can answer the entire question so that you can get 4 marks. So don't forget to subscribe and inbox me if you want more essay questions like this. We have solved 2021 up to 2023 previous past exam papers essay questions. So if you want to get those entire 36 marks, be sure to inbox so that we can give you access to all the videos and help you aim for that distinction in biology.